I think that
Yeah.
Teemo is a very knowledge gated champion, where the more you know about the game, the more you know about the enemy champions, the more you can abuse all these facts and establish a lot of control. But
Never underestimate the power of
do you know why you get angry?
I don't know. It's like I'm feeling powerless, and it's like, fuck. I don't know. Some situations they're like tilting. I don't know why, but
It makes sense. League definitely brings out the worst in as well. Yeah.
but
Uh,
yeah.
are there any other problems that you yourself are already aware?
I think sometimes I in bad matchups I want to win, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just not possible. For example, you can see like some games I'm like 15 days or maybe 10 death, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
like I don't give a shit. I just go for it, and maybe
Fair enough.
it's better than do nothing. I don't know.
I mean, there's a difference between pushing limits and inting because you're bored or because you want to achieve unrealistic goals. You watched the other coaching session, right?
Yes, yeah.
And I mean, you're probably aware of it, but the whole concept of neutralizing lane is probably going to be even more important for you. That sometimes going even is the best that you can do if the enemy opponent just doesn't give you an opening. And
Yeah, I
that go
agree. Yeah,
and it doesn't feel that good, but at the same time, it's just what you gotta do. I'm actually
it feels awful to be honest.
one thing that I'm already noticing. Um, yeah, usually don't do runes too much, but some of them are weird. First of all, I would essentially never go Legend Tenacity, like very, very, very rarely.
Yeah,
Um,
I go for this because when there's CC and you get one CC, then you're just basically dead. So maybe if you
yeah,
have a
but
little tenacity, you get a little bit more room to escape, or I don't know.
in my experience, right, you're saying I don't know, it doesn't make a difference. Like only if they actually have like 4 champions with CC, and um, like for example, if you go PTA and then Overgrowth and then Rift Mecha and stuff, and like you build to stat check and just have like 3,500 HP,
Mm,
then it's more okay. But like to consistently do it is a mistake. Because yeah,
okay,
Legend Alacrity is just better, and then Last Stand is just better, in my opinion. And
okay.
then I know that I do the recommendation with Deep Shot Ultimate Hunter. In general, when you go PTA builds, and for example, like right, they have Zed, right? Like
Yeah.
Shen is not gonna be a threat to you. Belvet is not gonna be a threat to you. Kaisa, maybe she goes AP, she's a threat. Okay,
Yeah.
their bot lane is annoying, but they're not that much of a threat. Your biggest threat in this game, for example, is Zed. So I would
Mm,
go conditioning overgrowth, just so because like PTA is good, you can auto attack a bunch of people, but together with Janna, you can kind of face tank everyone if you got overgrowth.
mm.
So yeah, I don't want to go too much into runes and builds, but I think considering the resolve and sorcery tree, yeah, I'll give you some notes.
That's interesting
Uh,
because to BH, I always go these runes. I don't even think about it. I'm like, yeah, that's the best, and
mhm.
it's not the best, of course, but I can't find any other setups where I can change the runes.
I mean, that's where I told it to the previous guy, right? Like the reason why you might be hard stuck. Well, I mean, you're not hard stuck, but 55 win rate is like the reason why you're kind of getting to the level where you're realistically at is because at this point it becomes a lot harder to do what you always do and still progress.
Mm,
Because at some point you need to optimize stuff. You can't afford to do suboptimal stuff. And so
yeah.
you're saying you don't know how to come to that conclusion, but in my opinion, it's just logical thinking. And that's another advice that I think already just from watching OP.gg is something, and it's something I mentioned to the previous guy as well. One thing that will help you get to Grandmaster and Challenger is by becoming a better player in general, and what specifically, it's identifying win conditions, how other lanes play, and what your role in this game is. I'm gonna give you an
Mm,
exact example in a second. But before that, like, right, analyzing team conditions in draft, seeing who the threat is, and then, like, right, it sounds complicated, but realistically, I make myself rules of thumb. Like, for example, if they have assassins, I probably want tankier stuff. Easy, right? If they have a lot of stuff to dodge, I might consider going sorcery tree. Like, for example, here, both Deep Shot and Ultimate Hunter are okay, but like Celerity probably feels pretty good to run away from Kane ganks in the early game against Ornn ult, cast it in for chase downs. Like, it doesn't do that much, but like it kind of helps. I would probably rather have Celerity. It's a choice of preference, but like, especially in when you need, there are some matchups where you need Celerity. I would do it. And just being more cognizant of your runes, and like, for example, this is a very small thing, but just if you just stop going Legend Tenacity, you start going Last Stand over Coup de Grace, and you change your minor runes sometimes, that can give you like 1% of a win rate. And like those 1%, if you then become better at identifying base timers, that's like 1 more percentage. Like, you gotta look at like your bad habits and the small things that you can now, like, I told it on with the other guy, once again, squeezing stuff out of the stone. So I watched UOP.GG before this, and I saw these two games where you both lost against Olaf, right? And Olaf is a matchup that I want to talk about.
It's pretty hard. To be edged, this one I won the lane, but just then after that it's the team difference. I cannot make up for it. But the other one I just straight up lost in 1v1, or I just got neutralized, I couldn't play, but yeah.
It doesn't matter what happened in the lane or like what happened to the team. What I want to get to you is that imagine we are in draft, right? We are thinking about, in both games, we're thinking about how we want to play the game. And I think that you should have slightly different setups in this game and in this game. And I want to give you an opportunity to describe the team comps here. Then I'll describe what I see and why the stuff we do changes.
Alright, so the first one, there's Olaf, Syndra, Lee Sin, Raven, and Blitzcrank. So dodging stuff is pretty important, I think, because if you get like CC by Syndra, you're just dead. If you get an X by Olaf, you just get run down. Blitzcrank hook as well, I guess. So maybe going the blue setups, like the Celerity setup, is pretty good.
So you can go, first of all, I got Taste of Blood over Cheap Shot in difficult lanes. Olaf, in my opinion, is a difficult lane. And it's like Cheap Shot helps you push your advantage. Taste of Blood helps you prevent making mistakes. So
for me, it was more like Cheap Shot is more like it helps you win short trades, and like you want to do short trades versus Olaf, so that's maybe why I go for it.
So you want to do short trades against Olaf, but usually you can't stop him from all-inning, in my experience. So for me, it's mostly about staying as healthy as possible and as safe as possible until his all-in comes. And then dealing with it. So that's how I look at it. But I'm not really looking at your minor runes here. I'm more... So your thoughts are going in the correct direction. But maybe something that can help is try to compare these team comps and these team comps. Especially focusing on... Let's focus on the junglers only for now. And then, like, I can... After we talk about that, I'll give you my full rundown on why these two games are different. And then you will see, I think, how your mindset needs to be.
The enemy jungler or my jungler as well? I mean the whole
Both.
team. Yeah. So Vi versus Lee on the top side. I don't know. To be honest, I don't know the jungle matchups. I'm pretty ignorant about the other roles, but I think it's even. I'm not sure.
It's not about... It's not really about if they're... Okay. If you want to, it's easier if I just describe the entire thought process. Okay. So, In the last coaching, I also talked a lot about neutralizing is good because then your bot lane can win or your mid lane can win, and your jungler wants to play around that. So already from draft, we can often see what the jungler wants to play around.
Yeah.
To add
The win
to
condition,
that,
yeah.
there can be a difference between do you want to win your lane or do you want to stop the enemy from winning the lane? Sometimes you become a win condition, especially if they have a lot of marksman, for example. Sometimes they are a win condition. What I mean by that is that, let me check. In my opinion, in this game, if Olaf and Kayn get fed, your team can't do shit.
I think that's what happened.
And
no, it was the mid laner that got fed. But yeah, same shit.
I mean, honestly, that draft is pretty scary because, like, I agree also if Gwen gets fed. But essentially, like, if Olaf ults into these champions, if he ults into Diana, I think he just kills the Diana. He just kills the Rek'Sai. Senna and Karma can kite him a little bit, but the second that he gets on them, especially with the Janna shielding him and him providing so much space for them, him getting fed is a really big problem. In comparison, like, Olaf getting fed is always kind of bad. That's why I play more to neutralize him than to actually win the lane. But in this game, in comparison, Vi, I think, is a better, like, if we just talk about fighting potential, is a better fighter than Rek'Sai.
Yeah.
Jinx provides more consistent DPS, so, like, we can burst down the Olaf, kinda, before he gets to us, and we can deal with him better.
Okay.
We can't deal with him that good, but we can deal with him better in this game, in my opinion. So, just based off this, like, how strong is Olaf against in this team comp? Right, in general, I go Fleet Footwork Ignite, right? But you could consider, for example, going Ghost or Phase Rush in this game. Because
I thought about going Ghost, but I never, like, I'm in Masters, so I don't want to kind of ruin or first time something, you know? But I thought about it, but never tried on the Olaf matchup.
At some point, you have to try it, right? I'm not, in principle, against going Ghost or Phase Rush against Olaf. I just think that sometimes it's harder, and it doesn't allow you to win the lane that much. But in my opinion, you're not supposed to really win the lane that hard. Yeah.
I need to not int core. Yeah,
your job is more to not int. Another thing that you need to consider is, this is where it gets a bit complicated, is you want to think about where your jungler should be playing, and for that you need to think about where enemy jungler is going to be playing, and that can be easy or difficult. For example, here they've got a Draven, right? Draven means they want to play for Draven. So already, you know that you're gonna have a more likely time that you can just fight the Olaf without too much interruption by the Lee Sin Syndra. You can sometimes get ganked by Blitzcrank, but realistically, going for like level 1 and kills is more likely here. So going a more aggressive setup, a riskier setup, the Ignite, the Fleet Footwork.
Makes more sense, yeah.
It makes more sense. Meanwhile, here, it is a lot riskier. For example, once again, when you have two melee supports, it's a lot more likely that action will happen because they're going to be fighting each other.
That's a lot of intel. To be honest, I never thought about the game like that, but it makes more like a lot of sense. Yeah,
and like that comes from experience playing and just thinking a lot, because like, right, all of this you can just think about. And like, it is difficult to think of all of this in 2-3 minutes, but like, while you watch the Champs League, you start by identifying, like, I guess kind of like a coach, like the special things. Like, for example, oh, they picked Draven, okay, this is a bot lane thing. That way, you know, is the bot lane matchup aggressive? Is it passive? Who do they want to play for?
Yeah, okay.
So, and that way, you can slowly improve your setup. And once again, here very clearly they want to go for bot lane play, so I'm more likely to say, okay, Fleet Footwork Ignite is good. Here, you've got an issue though, because even though Olaf is very likely to shit on your champions if he ganks you here, right? Not if he ganks. If he gets fed, he's gonna shit on your champions.
Yeah.
So we might say, oh, we're playing to neutralize. But at the same time, Rexa has a really rough time ganking a Vayne Janna with a Senna Karma. They provide little CC. Vayne has her E knockback. Janna has her NATO ult, etc. So Rexa probably actually doesn't want to play for the bot lane here. And he probably wants to play for mid lane. Gwen is pretty easily gankable. And if he's playing mid lane, like, essentially, is he playing top side or is he playing bot side, right? And I think in this game, the Rek'Sai should be playing top side. Because...
Yeah, but I cannot control that. I think if I say that in...
You know, you can think about that.
Yeah.
Kind of stuff. And based on that, even though I said that, like, you should most likely have Ghost here, Ignite is actually good because there's probably going to be Krog fights, there's going to be invades and stuff like that, and for that, Ignite is a lot better. So, I don't want to get too theoretical, but if you rewatch the other coaching, playing Teemo is a lot about identifying win conditions, knowing where the enemy jungler wants to go, and understanding what your entire team wants to play for, and then playing accordingly to that. And based on that, you can then decide on how risky and how safe you want to play and what you need to do to win the game.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah.
We talked a bit about runes. So for example, here, okay, good. I would always go last stand. I kind of like the flat HP. In general, I just autopilot to scaling HP though, to be honest.
I go to flat when it's like shitty matchup, when he can all in me or something like that, when he can stomp me early game. Otherwise, when it's free, I just go to scaling.
One more thing that I kind of didn't talk about is that there are certain items that are specific to matchups. For example, QSS is specific for Mordekaiser, right?
Yeah.
And Zhonya is an item that is specific to Olaf. Now, Zhonya is
so
difficult to buy, right? Stopwatch is super expensive. So, for example, in this game, I wouldn't really go Zhonya. Zhonya is good into Kayn as well, but I don't really...
If I had the money, I go Zonya's here, to be honest, but it's...
To be honest, yeah, you could go it over Ramadan, 100%. The question is just, does the team have enough damage?
I think team was losing. I just got a big 1k or something like that, and I just went for the Rabadon, yeah.
I mean, if you have one needlessly large rod. So, I think Zhonya is a pretty good item here. It's also pretty good against Gwen when she does her third ult. Yeah. So, in general, Zhonya is way more difficult to build this season, but I would definitely consider it. And my rule of thumb for Zhonya, I know it sucks to build, is if they have two champions where Zhonya is good against, I honestly would do it. So for example, here, you're buying Zhonya against the Olaf, but you're also building it for the Syndra, right? And because Draven is fed in this game, like, right, you can see that throughout the game. And he has cleanse, so Draven usually, right, you blind him, then if the AD carry has cleanse, oftentimes Zhonya is really good because you can wait out the cleanse and then blind them again. So Malignance is a nice item, but Malignance is also kinda a luxury item. In this game, essentially, what I would say going into the draft is that my mid jungle are not going to be playing around me, they're going to be playing around my bot lane. I will probably have to build Zhonya, so I will be somewhat low on damage. I want to be pretty safe. I would either go Celerity for literally just to run back to the lane faster, and like it helps to space Olaf. Like you said yourself that running is good here. And then I guess Gathering Storm. Gathering Storm is just like a nice backup so that even though you're not building anything defensive, you're still scaling and you...
Yeah, it's good value. But what else would you go if you don't go Gathering Storm? For me, there is only these two in this
tree.
That's
what I go that essentially every time. So sometimes, very rarely I go Scourge, but essentially against Olaf, I don't think it makes a difference. You could also say that no, they have a somewhat easy time on just getting onto you. So like Olaf ults on you, Draven cleanses, runs at you, Syndra does the same. You can say that I want like Bone Plating, Overgrowth, I want to be really tanky with Zonya and be like a fake frontline for my Jinx.
Mm.
You could also do that. I think going cheap shot Ultimate Hunter is too greedy, and it doesn't really fulfill what you need in the game. I like the adaptation with the flat HP for the early game, but that's all stuff that goes through my head as I'm going into champ select.
Okay. A
Okay.
lot of stuff already in the champ select. Yeah.
So, do you have a Jax game as well?
Yeah, there was one that I did not like. This one I think I didn't like. Can you show me the runes of Jax on this one? He went fleet. Yeah, this one I like. Okay, I win, but it's just luck. Like it's a team diff. 1v1 was very rough. I don't know.
Okay. Do you want to watch that game or an Olaf game?
Yeah, sure. We can watch this one.
Okay. Because another concept that becomes pretty important in this elo is that I think this is more of a case in high elo than low elo, is that there is a very high delta difference between the skill levels of players that you're going to be playing against.
Yes, there are very good Jax and like very average ones, and the average ones are very easy to win. Same for Olaf. But once you face a good player, like it becomes much harder.
So one skill that you need to develop, for example, I have that, like especially against Aatrox. I played so much against Aatrox and against so many levels of Aatrox players that based on how they play the first and 2 levels, I can already change the way I position, the way I lane, just by knowing like, oh, he's probably going for these trading patterns instead of these trading patterns. And it's kind of the same with Jax and Olaf. I would spend like the first or second level just seeing like how they're playing, how they're positioning, and you can judge a lot of their train of thought there. One thing that I do a lot against, for example, Riven players is that, I mean, you start in loading screens, right? If they have like the train of thought of a Riven player that starts Thorn Blade Ignite and one that starts Thorn Shield TP is completely different, right?
Yeah.
And if you see them go E level 1 or Q level 1, it's completely different. And based on that, you very rapidly adapt towards knowing like this guy wants to all in me and this guy just wants to farm, wait for ganks, and set up for level 6 ults. So for one, you might play super aggressive and not even ward. For the other, you might just chill. So
this one has Ignite, so I can see that he wants to fight and kill me.
Yeah, so it's the same thing with Jax. That's one thing that I do. Usually when they start Ignite, I actually... I don't do that every single time, but when they start Ignite, I actually start Doran's Ring. Because that's like a sign for me that they want to play for lane and win lane. And they want to play very hard for the lane. Also because I have Ignite, if we kill them, it's way more punishing, so I want to play more for the lane. I don't want to play for gold efficiency and scaling necessarily, as I would, for example, against an Ornn, where I just go Dark Shield, right, refillable, easy, every time, essentially.
For me, it's more like when it's tough, I just go Doran's Ring, not to into the lane, because if you die once with Teemo, it's so hard to come back, so you never want to die 1v1 on a bad minion wave, you know?
Agree. So, right, I would say that Jax with Ignite can potentially be a tough matchup. So yeah, you and Doran's Ring, good job in this case. One thing that we do in every single draft is obviously check who is mid jungle, who is right.
Yeah, so here I see top side, I see Jax and Kha'Zix. My thought process is I go Tabby this game because otherwise I can't play the game. That's how I thought.
So for me, that's like Tabis are okay here, but they're not really necessary to play the game. What I wanted to say, first of all, is that okay, Blitzcrank can roam, but in general, I think people are gonna play way more for mid lane, killing the Hui or pushing out mid and then roaming bot lane. top lane shouldn't be that much of a focus, especially because if Kha'Zix ganks you, you can kind of just go into the bush. Doesn't always work, but in general, you can pretty consistently go in the bush against Jax, Kha'Zix.
Yes, I agree.
So we don't need to be that worried about jungle mid. What also goes through my head though is that we've got a Bel'Veth. Bel'Veth is almost guaranteed to int for grubs, L5.
Mhm.
So what I would make a mental note in my head is to make sure that I base before level 5, level 6.
Yeah, before they spawn and you can get the wave, right? Yeah.
So, okay, this is kind of... I don't think this is too in-depth. I think with the Master 500 LP player, I can talk about this.
You can.
Something, right? We're going to talk about something very simple. So, if you push this in, right, you get a third wave crash.
Mm-hmm.
Should you base or should you not base?
It depends. Like, is it late push or is it
third wave?
The wave will be neutral.
Third wave, you don't lose too many minions, like 2-3 minions.
I don't know, honestly. Depends on my HP, no?
And that's a good thing to think about, because it depends a little bit on your HP, but not really. Essentially, you can telegraph things like 1 or 2 minutes in the future because mini waves are so predictable. Maybe it would help you not like look up too much of a wave management guide, but just you should know that if you want to get to like challenger, because like this is finding out your first like 6 levels isn't that complicated. So I'll talk you through it. If we manage to get a push, usually an Ignite Jax is probably gonna trade a bit. We're probably going to be low.
Yes.
If we don't, every time that we don't base after a crash, the wave's gonna push back to us, and then we somehow need to push it back again, right? By the time that we push, it pushes back up to us, and we push back. Okay, Jax doesn't have TP to punish us necessarily.
Right? I will have the push, yeah.
So like, this is the first push, right? This is the second push. This is the third push. So first we push in, then we get pushed back, then we do
and
the
then
third
I push back. Yeah.
On the third push, you're probably going to be like level 5 or 6, and the grubs are going to be spawning.
So, so it's pretty good. Okay, I understand, yeah.
I don't think you understand. Because the thing is, if we do all of this, by the time that grubs spawn, we will never have found a reset, and we'll probably have fought a bunch, be like down pots, etc.
Oh, you mean if I back at the first cannon wave, then I can have the push for the grubs? That's what you meant, no?
Yes, that's what I wanted to arrive at the end. So if we don't back, we're gonna be like 60% HP. We're gonna have no items, right? He's probably going to int for the things anyways. Blitzcrank is very likely to roam, and like that's where we get into lose and win conditions. He wants to farm until we just have Ludens, but Katrina really, really wants to fight. She really, really wants to join this fight, right? So maybe we make a mental note to just ping her away. Don't int for the grubs. And like, right, this sounds to come like very into the future, but like we can literally see they have a Katrina, we fight grubs, we're gonna be fucked. So we can either like literally tell them in chat, please wait until I base for grubs, or like please only do grubs when it's safe, etc. You can communicate all of this, or what you can also do is you try to get the push in, then you base to guarantee that you're gonna be somewhat healthy for whatever situation is gonna arrive.
That's interesting. I think I tunnel too much on my lane, and I don't think about the rest of game, and I don't try to look into the future, which is
the thing is, in previous seasons this worked, right? Because
there was no objective. Yeah.
But now, especially because if you have like a Trundle or something, it still kinda applies, but it's less necessary that we really get a good base off by level 3 or 4. And again, because he has Ignite, he's probably not going to be punishing us that hard on the pushback, because we can probably push it back before he arrives.
Yeah. Anyways, the problem, I think he got the push. I don't know. Like level 1 was messy, so I just couldn't get the prio.
Yeah.
Which is another problem, but yeah.
That's where we get into the next topic, which I was kind of leading towards with analyzing how they play level 1. A fleet footwork Jax is a lot more likely to play Q start, in my opinion.
Yeah, he did. I was not expecting it. Like, I first time I see this, to be honest.
So I've heard that a lot. Essentially, if it's a E start Jax, you can essentially always push in second, third wave, base, and then just play out bounce and be completely fine until level 6. Also,
Yes.
like, if you push this in level 5, level 6 wave is gonna push back, which means that you can be, in general, against the Jax, you want to be fighting here, because then you can do shrooms, and after he jumps into you, you can chase him down the lane.
And he cannot run you down as well. It's like same win count for both of us, I guess.
Yeah. So, in general, pushing this in, basing is essentially always a good strat, but here even more, because if we know that he's going to be jumping onto us level 1 and with Q, and like, right, play this kind of poke, like usually they don't all in because then he would be playing lethal tempo, but we know that he wants to Q in, then QE, thin out the wave the entire time. It is really important that we chuck potions early and we guarantee that we crash the wave, because he's gonna poke us down. But he's also gonna take quite a bit of damage, and if we manage to actually crash the wave, base, come back to lane, then he gets punished.
Because he cannot contest the push,
Yeah, he has Ignite and he gets fucked. So what we need to make sure, again, all of this we can do before we do a single
start to play. Yes.
So we need to think, okay, it's very important that we play towards the wave here. In the wave, it's very important that we take our pots early so that he can never threaten all ins.
Okay.
So
yeah, I tend to do that when I see enemy as Ignite. I like to drink the potion early, so yeah. Here I see they invade, so I'm like, I don't know, I just put a ward. I get jumped on. I think I walk too far away.
Yeah, this is kinda unlucky that, you know, he manages to get the jump onto you, but you also kind of just get punished for not standing here, right? Providing the vision. You're AFK at your tower.
I think I didn't do that because we tried the level 1 stack on the bush both sides, so I didn't want to go too much for that.
So when you do that, then I actually do have the habit of going invisible here.
Okay.
So I actually really do that. So after you invade, I like stand here, and sometimes they can jump onto you from here, and then like right, I take the L. But like 99% of the time, I go here, I hug this wall so that I can easily run away here, and that way invades get like they don't get prevented, but we can see them, right? And I don't. It depends on what champions invade. Like, can they jump? Is it like a Warwick? I don't know. Warwick Kha'Zix is a lot worse at jumping onto you than Jax Kha'Zix. But in general, counter jungling isn't that scary because of how comeback XP works in the jungle. So like sacrificing yourself for to stop that stuff. I know that's not what you were planning on doing, but it's not worth it. Just providing vision, knowing that they're there, is good enough. Yeah. Also, as we said, split map is annoying. I would still be going for a push though, and like imagine we have a push here, the wave's over here. He does your blue side camps and then come stop. I would just go for the go and viz in the bush strategy. Like just try to push in, try to get the base. And if they
but I see Jax has Ignite, and I'm like, okay, if he ignites me, I cannot hide in the bush. I mean, it's
but you can. Did you not know that?
Oh, I can.
Yeah, Ignite doesn't stop going.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's broken.
And no damage over time stops you. No poison stops you from going. You can actually go invisible while Sinch is attacking you.
Oh my god! Oh, holy shit! Okay.
So yeah, in general, like. It's just a bit unlike. Like I know that you didn't. I mean, you were trying to scare him away. I know that you didn't mean to fight him too much, but in general, if you just had the habit of going here, seeing that, and then just walking away, like put a ward, walk away, At this point, your lane is honestly kind of fucked.
Yeah,
because
it's so doomed.
he is a stat check champion and he already has Q. So I'm honestly not sure at this point what you should be doing.
Yeah, I lost level 1 just with this shit. Yeah, that's what yeah.
Because like the matchup is so stat checky, and like Jax is the best champion in the game essentially at getting onto you. Like you can't, he can't fuck up the Q the way that Olaf could, right? So, I mean, it is really unlucky, but it is a misplay. I would nearly go so far as to say that you need to base here instead of taking your bots. Because
but I never do that. I don't want to be level 2 to 1, and then it's like kind of doomed even more.
The problem is just, I'm actually curious how you're gonna go through this laning phase without dying. Because in my mind, he just jumps onto you and...
Yeah, that's what he did. He jumped on me on CD and I tried to survive, but yeah.
So,
and I'm afraid about Kha'Zix, which is like just below me, so...
You're in a really rough spot. So one thing that I do mention is that, right, like, Teemo wins every matchup. Teemo can get push in every matchup. The thing is, a lot of champions can poke you back, right? But usually Teemo has enough HP to survive anyways. So, for example, if you try to push in a Karma...
Yeah, I was gonna talk about Karma. Karma, I cannot do that. I want to watch a replay after this one about Karma. I tried to contest level 1, it's impossible.
I don't know if you have enough time for all of Jax and Karma. But essentially, even though you get low in most matchups, you can get the push and then still get a reset off and be somewhat fine in the very early game. But if you take these kind of early trades, for example, I have an example game that I remember a month ago where I played against Victor. And I played against Victor 2 times in a day. And in the first game, I thought that I can trade against him. And he landed 2 Qs onto me, Victor Qs, before the lane started. And because he landed those Qs, I actually got so low HP that I couldn't push the wave in without dying. And I just barely bullshitted something together, but I lost that lane pretty hard. The next game, I just stood here, like, not doing anything until the minions arrived. Then I started pushing, and the lane was super easy. So, if a lane is difficult, like, it's easier to say when you have the situation and in hindsight, but if the matchup can be difficult, it's very important that you reduce variance and you try to take as few fights as possible. Try to avoid any fight between two. Like, that's why I very rarely do cheeses where I, like, go invisible and there.
Because they can ruin the lane.
Yeah, they can just ruin your lane. Yeah, so again, this is why this is kind of the worst case scenario. Because, like, even a Q-star Jax, you can still push in the wave. But since you now are down 400 HP, you don't have enough HP to do that.
Yeah, I don't even want to try. I just want to get level 2 so I can mitigate the damage. But
at this point, I agree. Like, usually I would push here, but I like your decision of of stopping the push. I like that you didn't auto attack him during the thing. But yeah, if he was really good, he wouldn't be pushing here. Essentially. But he started auto attacking minions, and at that point.
Yeah, here I think I don't flash, maybe I'm dead. I don't know. I feel like it's bullshit, but he was like stacking DZ in my minion wave, so yeah.
Even if you're not dead, you are definitely forced to base, which honestly might not be the worst thing. The thing is, there's like no good way out of this situation. One thing that I will tell you is that very often when this kind of stuff happens, people, like, you go into the bush here, right?
I don't see the mouse. I see. Yes, I see the mouse. Sorry. Yeah.
So you get level 3 here, and you go into the bush.
Yeah, I cannot get the level 3, so I just go in the bush and get level 3 in the bush.
So what
I think-
is your correct play here? 100%, 1,000,000%, I'm sure.
I should base, I
Yes.
think. Yeah.
So one thing, this is like a thing that I learned by having people do that to me. I would do good trades and then, but not quite kill them. And then they would literally just base, and I'm like, wait, you can just do that? So
Yeah.
you would actually not be in that bad of a spot because most people are ingrained. Like, this Jax is going to be like, haha, he's losing all these minions. Haha, I'm just gonna push this slowly and then dive in with Katarina or something, right? But
The wave is already here. Yeah, you can. I don't know how much minion I lose if I base, but I think it's fine. Yeah, if I base here.
you lose a lot more if you don't base, because like eventually you're gonna be in this rough spot anyways. So it would have been the best case if you can. That's why I like Celerity as well, by the way, because like it feels less bad if you have W and you have Celerity running faster back to your lane.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I think letting him push, doing trades to get him low, to incentivize him to actually base and not stick around and like kill you under the tower or something. Like, right? Because if you don't trade at all and you take the base, like if you don't fight back and you do the same base, then he might decide to kill you as you're running back to lane.
Yes.
And that would suck a lot. So what you want to do is, when we go back into this spot, is yes, you want to wait for him to push, then you want to take a few trades, and then you want to base. And the thing is, the way you can know this beforehand, because like, right, it's like, how are you looking so far into the future? Like, this is unrealistic in the game, right? I think that's a valid criticism, but the easy way to rationalize that is that you are down 400 HP. You will have to take a base eventually, right?
I'm already behind. Yeah.
Yeah, and as I told the last guy, I'm like, right, you're already taking an L. It's about taking as little of an L as possible.
Gracefully.
So, yeah, losing gracefully, etc. I like the whole taking a small L instead of a big L. I don't know, sounds better to me. But yeah, that way you can rationalize, okay, I'm gonna need a base. He's gonna trade. Okay, I'm gonna need an early base. So you trade and you just pray that he actually allows you to base. And at this point, you're in such a rough spot that yes, you will need him to make mistakes. Like, for example, not pushing enough. But actually, at first I was like, I don't know if I like you pushing back, because what if it suddenly pushes back into you? However, because Jax constantly jumps onto you and takes minion aggro,
Yeah, grow. Yeah.
it's actually okay to push the wave back. And the reason why it's okay is because then the wave doesn't become so big. Because again, I actually like how you played. It's just you need to base at the end. Because you're trading with him, making him low so he can't do this play. And you're attacking the wave so that he can't crash the wave that easily. So you're actually doing a lot of things right. It's just you need to actually do the final step.
Yeah, I don't even remember how this played out. I think I farm everything on the tower and he doesn't try to tower dive me because he has no mana. But then I'm a little bit off tempo. It's like kind of weird.
So in general, that's what I talked about with the other guy as well. It's about planning one wave ahead and being decisive. So as you're CSing the wave, you should be like, okay, what am I gonna do? And then you can be like, okay, I need to base after this wave. That way you avoid losing a lot.
And here it's very bad. I have no flash and I'm under his tower. It's like such a bad spot as well. So I just base.
Sure.
But I have no money, so I just buy like shitty items.
But that's completely fine. Like, buying these items is good, and you are in time to reset for grubs, even though it's like not the way you expected.
Yeah, that was shit as well, but yeah.
I mean, you don't have vision on the Blitzcrank, so like it's very easy to lose track of Blitzcrank. Like, who? How did this happen?
Yeah, they even reset together, so I can't.
Oh, did someone stream on you? The fuck? The fact that he just jumps over like that is crazy.
He maybe had the information, I don't know. Yeah.
Actually, like, what?
Like you see she's on grubs.
Oh, he saw her
Yeah,
and that
you
she is low.
see her.
Okay. So this is, I don't want to talk too much about this one because, like, right, you see what the fuck they're invading. I need to help. I like that you're doing slow push and the hard push. In general, I'm guessing that you saw on minimap, you're like, I need to help, and then oh shit, oh fuck.
Yeah, I didn't see the HP. She was already dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very often when your junglers do things, it's about prioritizing. So, can I afford to help them? Can I not afford to help them? In this case, you've got a slow pushing wave. Like, you would have probably gotten ganked by Blitzcrank and then died on this wave either way. But I probably would have fought for this wave, pushed it. Of course, going for a ward is fine. One thing, I know it's scary when you see him, but like, right, Jax is the big. You probably saw him late on the minimap. So it's just about vision. In general, running into him and then fighting the...
Yeah, I am alive about this play, but it's like kind of bullshit. Yeah. It should not happen. Yeah.
Running into Blitzcrank and Kha'Zix is a safer bet than running back, because Jax is gonna kill you. But so in general, I actually like the way you play, even a bit more than the other guy that I coach. This is not to put him down, but like I notice a lot more that right, the slow push and the hard push, I think you're not as aware of stuff happening. So like if we make, again, you're trying to reach the top. To reach the top, you need to eliminate all your small mistakes. And
yes,
what your mistakes are. Well, first of all, it's making yourself a tilt.
Yeah.
The second reason is lack
the runes.
of...
Yeah.
I think the bigger one is the lack of map awareness. You're saying that you don't know how the jungle matchups are. You don't think about the mid lane champions, etc.
Yes, I don't think about that at all. It's like, I don't make the effort to think about it. But now that you mention it, it makes a lot of sense to just try to think about it and make simulations. And see how the game goes.
I think that's a very big thing that you lack. And then when your jungler died, like you didn't assess the situation correctly. When you saw the support, you didn't assess the situation correctly. You need to work on your pre-game, like seeing them, win conditions, etc. What's gonna be the jungle pathing, but also then in-game awareness of what's going on. So like you knew that yes, you invaded and you need to be safe, but then you didn't know that you need to cover the buff, for example. If you base early, you can walk up top like this, then through here, down. Then you actually, so you can walk like this to check.
Yeah, and wait here.
That way you're safer than if you walk like this.
Yeah, and I shouldn't try to attack him if I don't see Jax. It's very bad. Yeah.
So, but like, right, the way you traded with him, the way you attacked the minions, I don't know if that's on purpose, but like it is conscient. I think besides your lack of map awareness, I think you have a lack of wave management. You can call it wave management, but really I strongly recommend you to check out the way you play early lanes and to have a plan for when you're going to base. So like, can you afford to push this, let it push back, and then push before you base, or do you need to push after the first 3 waves? Like, when are you actually going to base? That's something that I basically always have a plan for. Sometimes it's very easy. For example, against Aatrox, I know I'm safe, and I know I want to base on 900 gold for Swifties. That is like the easiest one to plan for. You would do the same against Olaf, for example, because one thing that you, for example, do is a lot of champions spike on level 6, right? So you want to base before level 6 to be as strong as possible. And then against an Akali, for example, I know I want to base for Rune Crystal and Null Magic Man. Against an Olaf, I would be like, I know I want to base for Boots of Swiftness. So having a plan for when you want to base, on what level you want to base, and how you need to play the waves out is something pretty important. Then something that's pretty easily achievable is, of course, runes, masteries, items. Again, it's not that you're doing so bad, it's just that you can
It
move on
can be
it,
improved.
and
Yeah.
it can be improved.
But to me, you can build anything on Teemo, it works. Just some things are better than others.
I think a little bit more adaptation, creativity, understanding, again, the win conditions would help. This game, like, you can get pretty wild. For example, I would actually judge. So if I was Giga tryharding, right? Smolder is going to probably carry this game. Belvet is also carry champion. They've got 2 assassins. So that, again, that's something I've experimented with. I've tried it, and I've had success.
Is it the exhaust,
Yeah.
perhaps? Yeah.
So in this game, I would actually go bone plating, overgrowth with exhaust. And then Kha'Zix can't kill you. Twitch is not an AD carry that can go cleanse. You can exhaust her, and exhaust is also useful against Jax because you can exhaust him during his E, which deals a lot of damage in the early game, right?
Yeah.
So like, if you do that, you already have like a leg up, and like you can constantly just push that more. The adaptation when you go Thorn's Ring, no longer going Legend Tenacity. That's like all stuff that you can.
Okay. Yeah. Makes
Before
sense.
we go into too many conclusions, like this is a conclusion that I went to. I'm gonna spend like 3 minutes with my family, okay? And then
Okay.
I'm gonna do this stream like 5 or 10 minutes longer. Yes, just but yeah, I'll be right back, and I'm gonna
Alright,
watch
I'm gonna take a piss then. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna watch the Olaf early game.
Alright, yeah. See you then.
Yeah, see you. Right. I'm back.
Yes, me too.
So, essentially what I would... Again, I only see like one game. Which one do you want to watch? Which Olaf game?
The last one versus Karma was like
against
pretty
Karma?
tough.
You wanna
I
watch?
don't know what yes, if you...
Okay. Yeah,
I
but
couldn't do shit. Like honestly, I couldn't do shit. I think my rune setup is wrong. I need to go PTA or something, otherwise I cannot contest the wave. I don't know what I did wrong, but it was like missing like mantra Q spells, and still I cannot win the lane or push or whatever.
yeah. Realistically, just the vibe that I'm getting from you is that you're a good player, you're just not a great player yet. Like, you've got the basics down, but you're not pushing yourself in terms of items, masteries, in terms of... Like, you've got basic knowledge of matchup, like that Rek'Sai is stronger than a Kayn, but then you don't think further on like how that impacts the rest. You know that,
Of the
like,
game,
okay,
yeah.
Smolder is a late game AD carry, but not necessarily, okay, does it mean I have to especially play for him or not? And
Yeah, I don't even think about it. I need to
Yeah.
be more like precise and conscious about it.
so I think just improving yourself as a League of Legends player is gonna make you a lot better as a Teemo player, essentially.
Mm.
I don't know if it's matchup knowledge. Yeah, so this is already kind of the first mistake. Of course, you're kind of getting cheesed here, right? With her being in this bush.
Yeah, I was like, which side of the minions do I get back?
I mean, where
And I should be on the right now that I see the mistake, but when I was like playing, I was like, okay, I'm behind the minions, it's fine, but it's not fine. I didn't.
Are you even behind the minion?
Yeah, I think I was a little bit behind. Like at first I'm in front and then I like wait for the minions. Up, up.
Which is good that you are thinking about that. But
yeah, it's not good enough.
I mean, that's kind of, again, like, I don't, when I'm not against a Karma, I don't consciously think, oh, she might be cheesing in this push. I need, for this EQ, I need to be on the right side. That's like stuff that, you know, you watch it, you improve. Now in the future,
Yeah.
you know you need to be in the right side. In general, like, I'm not saying that you can think of everything that I think of everything that I mentioned in the OP.GG review or something beforehand. It's more just that if you're constantly thinking, if you're using the time, the champ select draft time, as you're going to the laning phase, you can spend, like, you're not gonna think in champ select already, okay, if Karma is in the mid bush, I need to be here. But like while you're going here, you can be like, oh, okay, how can I get hit by a Karma Q? And then it's very easy that you can't get hit by a Karma Q from here. So you need to be on the right side.
Yeah, I agree, yeah.
Or you can generalize that thought even harder in terms of, I want to push the wave, and then, okay, what's it called? So the train of thought is, I want to push the wave, right? And then the question is, okay, how do I push the wave? And then the answer is, okay, by not losing too much HP while hitting minions. How do I not lose too much HP that I could die while hitting the minions? Well, I'm not allowed to be hit by spells. Okay, I need to sit behind here. Like, those are all the concrete steps how you arrive to that. If you always want to go. So that's why the whole knowing your win condition, that's how it comes in. In general, I like that you're constantly attacking the minions. I like the way you step back here. One thing that you need to understand about pushing the wave is that you can often, especially against worse players, so guarantee a crash. You can't often do that against like a very good Jace player or a very good Karma player in this case. The thing is, you need to be asking yourself, what is the purpose of a crash? The purpose of a crash is to be able to base and get your HP back and know that the wave is gonna be in a decent state for the next minute.
Yep.
The thing is, that is a win condition. However, if you're just constantly if you just play for crash and nothing else, you're not killing the enemy Karma, then it doesn't really matter if you get a crash or not, if both of you are just constantly attacking the minions in the middle.
Like, yeah, but as long as it's like that, it's fine. But once she gets the prio, because at some point she will, if she uses her spells in the minions, or if she attack me, so the minion aggro her, so her minion push. Like at some point she's gonna like be sitting on my tower and harassing me, I think.
The thing is, here it's more of a combination of a bunch of little things. So, right, like you got hit by 2 Mantra Qs. That is really scary. I don't think you traded... Yeah, you didn't get a single Taser Blood or Fleet Footwork proc onto her yet. Should have played for that. Also, there were often tiny hesitations where when you're attacking the minion wave, you want to attack it the entire time. Also, you've got poison, so you want to attack multiple minions at the same time. I saw you were attacking one minion.
That's true. Yeah, I didn't think about that. That's true.
The thing is, the second that she uses her Q, she can't do anything else anymore, right? In the early game. Later on, her Q cooldown has no. Like, now you know that you're safe and you can attack the minions.
Yeah, that's what
Gone.
I try to do.
So, right? First of all, I would be taking my pots really early, so I would already be chugging my second pot. But like, I want to pose here. So after she does this, my first instinct is, okay, you might not be able to crash this wave. But probably at this point, at the next wave, I think you can guarantee a crash. It might be scary because there's a cane here. But the thing is, once she does that, I would start auto-attacking the range minion. And just spreading the poison around. Getting them low. You did like 4 auto-attacks on the cannon. I think you should do 3 auto-attacks here. And just throw a Q on the Karma. Maybe
That's
she doesn't pay
interesting, yeah.
attention and you get Taste of Blood. It's kind of a broader concept, which is just playing around cooldowns. As I just said, she only has her auto attacks, and your auto attacks are stronger than hers.
Yeah.
Another thing that you can do, in this case it's not really a spot, but if you want to get priority, one thing that you can do is do early ignites. So you literally just ignite them. So that they get lower.
Yeah, I cannot use Ignite to kill her anyways, so
yeah, like,
maybe to chunk her.
Later on at like level 7, but the thing is, at that point you will get level 7 anyways. I think one of the biggest mistakes that you're doing in this lane is not trying to go for fleet stacks. So, not just fleet, but also Taste of Blood. You didn't do that in the early game, and you're just getting abnormally low. Usually at this point...
And she's missing her attacks. Imagine if she's not missing 2 Qs in a row, I'm just dead here.
The thing is, like, you're doing mistakes, she's doing mistakes. Which is why you are in a finer spot than you should be. Realistically, usually I think you would be at this HP threshold, and then if you just ignite her, fight her, this wave I think is crashable.
Okay.
Also, the thing is, it is way harder to play aggressive when you have no HP already from the pots, because like you might die before the pot runs out, or she might decide to go to fight to the death because you're so low HP. I would, in matchups where I know that I wanna push in, I check my pots very early. For example, here I would have ignited her.
Yeah.
It's a bit like a second ago. But I would have ignited her and essentially said, if you want to stick around until you get an angle to ult Q me, I will try to flash that ult Q and kill your ass. And because of that, she'll probably back off, and that will give you enough time to push this wave in, or then get a decent base off if this pushes back, because then you've got this. Essentially, I think if you ignite there, you can threaten a kill, push her back, and do well. But even without that, if you didn't get hit by that Q, and by the way, again, I think you should be trading back there with when she did auto attack. Like, it's just a bunch of small things.
I can improve on that. Like, I can see it now as well. But when I play it, it's not so obvious. But now that you see the replay, it's like, I can do.
So the thing is, like, right, you can't do fucking 40€ coaching all the time. I would just, the way I always analyze VODs is like, right, you had that frustration that like, right, Alan tells me that you can get push and crash the wave in every matchup. I wasn't able to do that. Why wasn't I able to do that? What the fuck went wrong? And then you can start to analyze that, and like, you always wanna, like, you can be like, okay, fuck, I got chunked out by Jaxio. Why did that happen? Well, because it didn't guard the blue buff. Initially, I was at my tower. Then, I got killed by the Blitzcrank. Why did that happen? Oh, I actually forget to keep track of the supports and the base timers. Maybe I should be pressing tab more. You can be like, oh, I wanna... usually I wanna crash against Karma, but that didn't work. Why? And then you see all of these small mistakes. When you do a VOD review, it's really just about seeing a mistake, seeing something go wrong, then asking why that happened, and then working backwards, essentially.
Yeah. I don't do that. I think I should start doing that.
Like, right, if you're willing to listen to me and have the coaching, then I think that you should also have enough dedication to do it by yourself. And like you can just logically come to a lot of conclusions, and if you have extra questions, right, you can sometimes ask me. I don't stream as much again, but back when I streamed, you could kind of just ask every single time.
Yeah, anyways, the rest of the game it's like
I told you this move. Okay, so one thing that I wanted to mention here is like, right, I know this is not the same situation because now you've got like essentially you have the HP advantage here. So that's why you feel a lot more comfortable. But in general, like when she threatens this, like right, because of her pots, your HP advantage isn't that crazy. Still, and I know your wave is slightly bigger here, like right, she does the same thing where she walks up, but this time you actually stand your ground. Okay, she's a lot more in the wave as well. But like right, by walking forwards, by igniting, you make them doubt their decision a lot more. You make them do a decision. Fuck, do I want to stay here, or like do I actually want to wait until I have my EQ? Again, against mages, this is kind of just a mage specific advice. You want to have the push because else you're gonna get poked to death on the tower and you can never base.
Yes.
So early ignites really good to guarantee that you can get a push in.
Get the shove and then he TPs back or whatever, then reset the lane. Okay.
Yeah. Also, Swifty is gonna be real important because the thing about win conditions, Karma is not even that scary because of her old Q poke, like a lot of champions have poke. The reason she's so scary is because of her W, and they have a super gank heavy jungler. So you already know from this game, your ass is gonna get camped really hard. Honestly, like this is a game where you could actually go TP. The thing is just, it's a bit wonky with her ult W healing, right? But you could consider going TP here and just playing weak side. If you go ignite, then you actually need to use that ignite because getting a kill isn't gonna be that easy, but scaring her off to get good bases is quite worth it. Okay. Now I am towards the end of my time though, so I would give you the option to ask some questions.
I think that was good. Like I got plenty of insights about what I'm doing wrong, what I need to be doing, and think more about like why. But like think more about why do I do stuff? Why should I do stuff? And think more. Like I don't think that's the problem. I think
most people don't, like, right? People just play the video game. The thing is, I think that Teemo is a very, very knowledge-gated champion, where the more you know about the game, the more you know about the enemy champions, the more you can abuse all these facts and establish a lot of control. But if you don't know and don't think about all these things are gonna happen to you, and it's gonna, right, just it's gonna feel like you have no chance, and the Teemo is a weak champion, and then you make a post on Teemo Talk, and
nah, it's pretty strong. I think Teemo is pretty strong. I'm not putting a lot of efforts, and I'm master 400, so I think pretty fine as it is.
And yeah, I think you can get higher, and I wish you. Oh, you barely play ranked.
No, I have another account. That's why the other account was masters. But this season I'm playing this one. Yeah.
Okay. So, like in general, in comparison to a lot of other Teemo coachings that I did, from observing your play, I got a lot better impression than a lot of people that I watched. I just really think, like, right, in my last coaching, I didn't know how to summarize what his problem is and what advice I can give you. For you, it's very easy. Stop tilting, think more about the game. Like,
yeah.
And that way,
it's not that easy though. But like, it's easy to point, but not easy to.
Yeah, it's going to be a long journey to improving. But if you improve, I think there's no reason why. Like, there is another challenger, Teemo.
Yeah, Xiflo. Yeah, I played versus him and he added me, and I saw his challenger. Very high win rate as well.
Yeah, I don't think there's no reason why you can't be Xiflo. I think.
Yeah, I think so too. Maybe challenger is high, but grandmaster.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Grandmaster for sure. I mean, you're 500 LP. Grandmaster for
Yeah.
sure. But
Yeah,
like
yeah.
again, I don't see a reason why you can't be Zifler.
Thank you, Alan.
He's Grandmaster right now. Oh no, he's back to Challenger. Yeah, like on the very edge.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I wish you good luck.
Yes, same to you.
And I'm gonna go outside.
All right. Thank you for the coaching, Alan. See you around.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Never underestimate the power of the Scouts code. 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 2, 3, Scouts code. Code. 2, 3, 4. Yes, sir.